Hello, Algebra 1A students. Today we're looking at, from Ms. Buchanan, multi-step equations, and I have listed in red here my steps as I go through, and then getting the final answer. Here we go. We have the distributive property to deal with right off the bat with number 1, and I'm going to take 7, I'm going to multiply it by 7n, I'm going to take 7 and I'm going to multiply it by this positive 4. That becomes 49n plus 28. And I just bring down my equals and I bring down my 224. So 7 times 7 is 49, 7 times 4 is 28. That's how I got that. So this in black is my new equation. In order to get n by itself, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this 28, okay? Remember, we're doing like PEMDAS backwards, so anything addition, subtraction added on here, then we'll deal with, in this type of problem, we'll deal with the undoing of multiplication. But first of all, we have to undo this addition. The opposite of addition is subtraction. So in order to get rid of a plus 28, I got a minus 28. What I want over here is I want this part to cancel out or to equal 0, okay? That's why I do it, because I'm trying to get that n by itself. So I take 224 minus 28, and I get 196. I'm left with 49n, because this canceled out. That's why I did it. Then, in order to get n by itself, I have to undo multiplication. The opposite of multiplying 49 is dividing 49. So 49 divided by 49 gives me just n by itself, and 196 divided by 49 is 4. Remember the rule, whatever you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other. Remember that wall that Ms. Buchanan has you guys draw. I'm just showing it a little bit differently. If you're ever confused about what opposites are, they're right next to each other on your calculator. Division is the opposite of multiplication. Multiplication is the opposite of division. Addition is the opposite of subtraction, and subtraction is the opposite or undoes addition. Whenever I say opposite, I mean it undoes it so that you can get the variable all by itself. All right, I wish they didn't use the letter B because my B's look a lot like 6's, so hopefully that's not too confusing. But in this problem, 86 stays the same, equals stays the same, this negative 7b stays the same, so I just bring it on down. And so I'm just looking at this, not looking at my combining like terms yet. I've got to do the distributive property. Negative 8, I circled the negative. Don't forget about that negative. Negative 8 times b is negative 8b. This becomes a negative 8 times a negative 7. This minus 7 in here, think of it as negative 7. So negative 8 times negative 7 gives me a positive 56. Now I have this new equation all written in black. I combine my b's. Okay, my 7, negative 7, and negative 8b becomes negative 15b. That's combining like terms. Now, I got to get rid of this plus 56, okay? So I subtract 56 from both sides, and that leaves me with 30 equals negative 15b. I'm dividing both sides by 15, and that leaves me with negative 2 equals b. You could pause this as needed as I'm just ripping right through this. For number 5, I have negative 7 times b becomes negative 7b, and I have negative 7 times the positive 8, which is negative 56. All I had to do is the distributive property there. And then I bring down the equals, and I bring down the negative 91. That's my new equation. Now, in order to get the b by itself, what I have to do is I have to add 56 to both sides. Adding 56 to both sides gives me negative 7b equals negative 35. I then divide both sides by negative 7, and that gives me my b equals 5. For number 7, I'm done like showing you the steps as I go through. I'll explain it as I go through. I just didn't, want to keep on doing it, or else this video would be forever. I'm using the distributive property, so this negative 4 times negative 4 became the 16x, and then this negative 4 times the negative 1 became a positive 4. And then I subtracted 4 from both sides. I end up with negative 112 equals 16x, and x. And then I have divide both sides by divide both sides by 16, and I get -7 equals x. This one, distributive property, I have 6 times 3 is 18. Then I have 6 times -5 is -30r. I bring down everything else that I didn't work with. I can combine like terms. I have 18 minus 1. That gives me the 17. I bring down this -30r. I bring down this -223. I divide both sides by 30, or I subtracted 17 first, and then I divide both sides by -30, and I get 8 equals r. Number 11, I believe she did it in class. If you weren't there, we did the distributive property. 5 times -7 is -35. 5 times -8k is -40k. -5 times 7 is -35 once again. And I have -5 times a 2k is a -10k. Negative times a positive gives me a negative there. Same with that -35. All these were negatives times positives, by the way. Equals -70. I combine my like terms. So my -35 and -35 becomes -70. And then I have -40 minus 10 gives me my -50k. I add 70 to both sides. That gives me -50k equals 0. When I divide by -50, 0 divided by -50 is 0. So I did all that just to find out that k equals 0. And then here I have two distributive properties again. So I just bring this stuff down that I'm not working with yet. 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 3 is 21. 6 times a -7 is -42. And 6 times a -6 is the 36. I always, have this was with the variable. This one was with the variable, so I bring that variable down with it. I combine like terms. 28 minus 36 is a -8x. 21 minus 42 is a -21. I add 21 to both sides. I get -24 equals -8x. I divide both sides by a -8, and I get 3x. Okay, hopefully this helps, and good luck.